It is good to have a talkative dentist. They distract us with their chatter. My dentist is a chatty one. In recent times, he told me how he visited his 89-year-old aunt and nun soon after COVID-19 commenced. And she declared to him that this COVID-19 thing might slow people down. They're moving too fast. My dentist was very taken by his aunt's perspective and saw something prophetic about her analysis. The American science fiction writer Frank Herbert once gently suggested, the best prophets lead you up to the curtain and let you peer through for yourself. This fits with the impression that the prophets should be the eyes of the people, reinforcing the message that only the prophets see the obvious. If it is true that the eye is the mirror of the soul, then it is perceptive to ask, who today are the eyes of the people? Is it Fintan O'Toole, who just authored a book called We Don't Know Ourselves, a personal history of Ireland since 1958, and who on Tuesday of this week confidently declared Ireland is no longer Catholic, and then cuttingly asked, why are our schools? Are the eyes of the people the creative geniuses who have invented the metaverse, with promises that this is what our future will be about? The much heralded metaverse will allow users to work, meet, game, and socialize together in three-dimensional spaces. Louise Eccles, the consumer affairs editor of the Sunday Times, helps us by worrying about what the promises of the future and great creativity will bring. Louise recently entered the metaverse. Louise described her experience with these words: creepy and explicit. My journey into the no limits metaverse. Is psychologist and self-help star Jerry Hussey the eyes of the people? Jerry says the pandemic has brought about a consciousness revolution, or a great awakening. People have begun to ask, what is it all about? What is my life about? Kindness begins with the understanding that we all struggle. Interestingly, the people who tend to be most gracious are those who know how badly they need grace. Does this reveal something to us about Jesus, from whom Luke tells us gracious words came from his lips, yet his hometown crowd reacted to his message and hustled him and took him to the brow of the cliff? Like my dentist's aunt, from the outset of COVID-19, Pope Francis has reasoned that where humankind has to act is precisely in the threat itself. That's where the door opens. Francis keeps quoting a German philosopher who argued that where the danger is, also grows the saving power. The prophet Jeremiah emphasizes in our first reading that we are born beloved creatures of the Creator into a world that has lived long before us. Is this revelation the reason for Jesus' graciousness? Pope Francis argues that you have to go to the edges of existence if you want to see the world as it is. You have to open your eyes and to let the suffering around you to touch you. Francis highlights 3 disastrous ways of escaping reality and being closed to prophetic wisdom. First, narcissism takes you to the mirror to look at yourself, to center everything on you, so that's all you see. Second, discouragement leads you to lament and complain about everything, so that you no longer see what is around you, nor what others offer you, only what you think you've lost. Third, pessimism is like a door you shut on the future and the new things it can hold. A door you refuse to open in case one day there'll be something new on your doorstep. Jerry Hussey tells his story about being at the edge, about his journey from suicidal teenager to psychologist, helping some of the nation's biggest sports stars. He describes epiphany-like moments through which he dragged himself out of the depths of despair. Jerry sees himself almost as a signpost. Luke's gospel is proclaiming that it takes prophets to interpret the present. Jesus signposts us to the edges of life, the cradle of prophetic insight. Though we can be hustled at the edges, new perspectives are born. Interestingly, Jerry Hussey and his wife Miriam have created a global community called Soul Space. If it's true that the eye is the mirror of the soul, then soul is critical for society, our schools, the metaverse, and COVID-19. Amen.